Hey listeners, powered up by Mazer Group, this is the Turnin podcast. I'm your host, John Mazer. Hi Brock.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining today. You are in from Victoria?
Pender Island.
Pender Islands.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a cousin that lives on Lions Bay.
Okay.
Close?
I'm not sure where that is.
Okay, never mind. All right, yeah, it's just north of Vancouver anyway. So really appreciate you being here today. Brock, you work for a company called Visor Pro that we're doing some work with right now.
That's right.
So we're going to get into that. I'd like to know about Brock first.
Okay.
So born and raised Pender Island?
No, I'm born and raised in Edmonton.
Really?
Yep.
So what got you to the West Coast?
Oh, I did my bachelor's in Edmonton, and then I was going to do a master's in physics, and there's a couple places in Canada that's really nice to do that, and Victoria is one of them. So
Gotcha.
decided on Victoria and moved out there.
Nice. Never left?
Or
wasn't that not long ago?
No, that was... that was more than 15 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was quite a bit ago.
Gotcha.
Lived there for about 10 years.
Yep.
Met a woman who's now my spouse, and we have 3 kids together. And
no kidding.
Then, I convinced her to move to Edmonton for 3 years. Well, it lasted for 3 years. I convinced her to move. She lasted 2 winters and was like, no.
Oh, it's over?
Yeah.
So she would have been a Pender Island resident.
She was a Victoria
resident.
Yeah. And then we moved back to the coast and bought a 2-acre property on Pender, and
nice.
haven't looked back since.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got 2 acres on a West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Jealous. Road trip.
Let's go.
I got a suite coming together, so
do ya?
I'll have a place for people to stay.
Oh, there you go. We're going to hold you to that
Yeah.
then. Yeah, right on. So you're working for Visor Pro. Now, for our listeners, Mazer Group has partnered with Visor Pro right now. We're producing a platform. It's for internal use. Essentially, it's an AI-generated language model, and correct me if any of this lingo is wrong, Brock, but AI-generated answers from information such as ops manuals, service manuals, that sort of thing, that will allow administrative staff of Mazer Group to answer pretty not basic, pretty in-depth questions about all of our equipment that come in. And a little bit of background on that for our listeners. I mean, like every industry out there, we really thrive on getting qualified people, and all people are, getting anybody is great, and getting quality people is good. You have to be able to look outside the scope of just the ag industry in order to get those people now. So along with that doesn't really come the education of equipment. So partnered with Brock and his team at Visor Pro, we are creating this new, what would you call it? It's like an AI platform.
Yeah, I'd call it an AI platform. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
We were joking like a Mazer Group GPT kind of thing.
I like that too. Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But I think you summarized it pretty good. That's pretty much what it's doing.
Amazing. Perfect. So we'll leave it at that then. So Visor Pro, when did that career path start with you?
So that was, I kind of fell into it. So when I was in Edmonton, I was working for a company called AMI, which is the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. It's a bit of a mouthful.
That's okay.
And
not spelt A-M-I-M-Y.
A-M-I-I.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And they called it AMI. So the researchers at the U of A are really strong in AI.
Yeah.
And they're one of the top 5 in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of like research quality. And so they got tons of funding from the federal government, provincial government, et cetera.
Yep.
And part of their mandate was to, or still is, they still exist, to help the sector, the industry in mainly Alberta and Western Canada adopt and leverage AI. And so I was at AMI. I built this program to help accelerate that adoption.
Yep.
I was working with lots of different companies all around Edmonton. Just help them figure out where it fits in and how to do it.
Yep.
One of the companies that came to us was called DOT at the time.
No way.
Yeah. And so the AI team at DOT was working out of the AMI offices, and we were helping them out, find people, do like brainstorming kind of advisory sessions with them, et cetera. So DOT at that time, the CEO was Rob Syke.
Yep.
And he navigated that acquisition to, I think it was Raven. They sold it to.
Yep.
And then the next thing that Rob did was start AgVisor Pro.
Gotcha.
And I think AgVisor Pro was already in the works when he took over Dot and was working on that.
Gotcha.
But once Dot concluded that sale, he went straight full time to AgVisor Pro, and that's what he was working on.
Gotcha.
AgVisor Pro is an app that helps farmers and agronomists find answers to on-farm problems. Really powerful tool, find experts kind of anywhere in North America on any farm problem. It works pretty well.
Wow.
So we built that.
Yep.
Took us about 3 years to get it to where it is. And then last year, we were playing around with this new AI technology, the large language models that came out, and we're trying to figure out where it fit in and what we could do with it. We had partnerships in some other dealerships that we were already working with, trying to, identify opportunities and see what we could do with them. So we put together this prototype of how we thought GPTs could fit into the dealership space, put it in front of our partner, was like, what do you think of this? Is this anything to you? And they thought it was pretty interesting. So we started talking to other dealer groups such as Mazer Group, and ran pilots last harvest season, kind of had the prototype built up so that you guys could try it out a little bit more. And then we launched it for your people now this spring, and there's quite a few people using it, quite a bit of usage. So far, the feedback's been quite good. It's always exciting for me as a product person to see people using it and kind of get excited about it and see that buzz going on.
It's doing what it's supposed to, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. So like when you say, just moving back to the AgVisor Pro app, couple of questions about that. You helped build that app?
Yeah, I'm the chief product officer. So
okay, perfect.
I'm leading the team that's building the thing.
Wow. Right. So are you a coder then?
I have done coding in a past life.
Yeah.
I'm way past that at this point.
Yeah.
I just talk to people at this point.
Right on. Past it as in like you just don't, your position doesn't need you to do it.
Pretty much. I can. I still do some like data science-y stuff because that's more what I was doing, more the data analytics side.
Yeah.
So I still do some of that in my current role, just to like, hey, what does the usage look like?
Sure.
How are people using it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't write any software.
Okay.
My senior developers, whenever they see me write code, they just start laughing. tell me to
doing
stay
it wrong
away from there.
Brock, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Right on. So the initial product, the AgVisor Pro app.
Yeah.
Does it have a good following?
Yeah, it's got a couple hundred people in it, kind of every other day kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Lots of questions come through.
Yep.
There's a pretty strong group of experts on there as well that kind of respond to everything. So.
Yeah. So but this is all like the usage on both the question asking and the question answering. It's all from organic, like.
Yeah. It's all community driven.
Gotcha.
So,
so there was nothing feeding the answers on AgVisor Pro side.
We played around with that on the GPT side.
Yeah.
We just trained like a custom GPT to try to answer questions, and it was okay, but like it just give you generic answers.
Sure.
Right?
Like everything that our farmers are they're very brilliant people, and especially you get the old school mechanical, and I guess not old school, but like there's very educated farmers out there that already know the answers. Yeah. They're probably I
didn't need that, random answer.
Thanks,
from
you idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's like the IT guy saying, "Have you turned off and turned on your computer?"
It's the exact same
thing.
If ChatGPT answers the questions, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, we need to move past those very, very simple answers. So. Yeah. Crazy. So, okay, AgVisor Pro, the app comes out, and then you start making prototypes for what we are working on now. So I'm super excited about this, and I have to say, like, I told you a little story outside that, a former employee of us, Chris Eshka, who is an absolute beauty and a very brilliant guy, we had the idea that, and honestly, I'll tell you, my idea for it was that we have 20, 30, 40 years of work order data from mechanics fixing things and giving the description of how they fixed it. Is there some way we can utilize that? And that was all Mazer Group based data, right? So that's where, my idea came up, and how we aligned at the exact same time. And I have to thank, again, like I said, outside Wally Butler to bring me down, because I thought this could be a John Mazer thing and I could lease it to Mazer Group. And he said, John, a Mazer Group thing, and you got to keep it like that.
Yeah, that's bigger than you, John.
It certainly is, right? So yeah, we quickly realized, okay, you can't just tell ChatGPT to write code to make make it read all of the work orders that we have, and that a better way to do this is get the pros involved.
Yeah.
And like AgVisor Pro or Visor Pro, sorry, and build a proper platform. And right now it is released on we're kind of doing it on a dealership by dealership basis. I think. Yeah. And so what Brock, you and your team, and correct me if I'm wrong along the way here, has done in the last few months is uploaded and taught our new AI language model what a combine is, what a tractor is via, for in layman's terms, via service manuals, ops manuals, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long stretch to say it knows anything.
Yeah, that's right.
But certainly it has a knowledge base of service and operators manuals of all the equipment that you carry, mainly on the New Holland side for you guys.
Yep.
And then when your service managers or advisors are asking questions, it refers back to that knowledge base in order to answer questions. Then it'll generate an answer based on kind of the information that's able to find.
Yep. It's an exciting time because it just shows like the progression of our industry, that we're getting into, because in a very surface level way, everybody talks about ChatGPT and it's its own brain. It'll give you answers for anything. It'll do your homework, that sort of thing. But to focus it on, our specific industry, it don't know that much, the ChatGPT part, right? Or whatever. So,
well, it was trained on all the internet. So you think it knows a few things.
No kidding. Right. Yeah. You think it knows something anyway, but
I'm curious about from a bird's eye view of when you're starting to develop something like this.
Yeah.
What are some of the big steps that are needed in what order? I don't want you to start breaking.
The big things are product, team, and customers. So we have great partners from folks like Mazer Group. That was one of the big first things that we needed, because otherwise, we're going to invest a ton of money in building a thing that maybe nobody wants.
Right. Yeah.
So having those partnerships early on is really crucial for something like this. The team was already in place. We already had people from building the AgVisor Pro app. So we leveraged that. And then the other part of it, the product, is there's a whole mess that goes into building a good product. When we started with Visor Pro, we tried to scope it down as much as we could, because all of the equipment in the New Holland side is quite extensive.
Oh yeah, and you can go back years, and there's we service everything, right? So how far do you go with that?
I think our from the CNH side, there's about 25 gigs of service and operators manuals that we've gotten now, and it's wow. We couldn't have done that in the first version of the thing,
right?
Because then I don't know what's going wrong, right? I'm trying everything there, so we scoped it down as much as we could. I think we said we were going to do a few combines and a few sprayers kind of thing. And that was just to okay, let's get something working that we can put in the hands of your service managers and folks. And, they can try it. They can identify, it's going to help me here or there or whatever. They can get a real feel of it.
Yeah.
And once you have an idea of that, kind of going to know the ROI, kind of going to understand the value a little bit better, what the use cases are. Then we can go and build something that's going to be a bit more scalable.
Yes.
And so, past the harvest pilot that we did, into the winter throughout Christmas, we were building. We built the thing so that, more than a couple people could use it, and we'd be confident that it would be working properly, and that it would have the amount of data that you need in it, and et cetera. So there's, to answer your question, those kind of the three things. The product side is probably the hardest one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's so exciting again, because I said it just shows how our industry is kind of growing and progressing into we deal in technology a lot already, with just in-cab stuff, that sort of thing, but to have something that's being able, is able to be utilized by our people is I'm super pumped about it. I'm super pumped. So I caught outside when we were chatting that your office or I guess your company is remote. There is no headquarters or anything like that. So, and you'd mentioned that the bulk of your team, if not all your team, has come from the app building, right?
Yeah.
So they must be excited about this. It's something bigger, and it's something. So that's like how far does this spread? I guess where am I going with this? Where's the team?
The borders of my team. So a lot of it's in Canada. Most of our employees are in Canada. I have I think 3 people in Ontario, and then 2 of us are in BC, and then a handful of us are in Calgary or in Alberta. And then I have a designer and a developer out of South America as well.
Wow.
So it's a small team. Like we're only about 15 people right now. And most of that's within Canada, but I think our borders are larger than your borders.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Area of responsibility is a little bigger.
That's right.
We call it the AOR here. So when you say building, Brock, like, I mean, I understand like all of the data that we hope to get up on there and teach the language model. I mean, those are, digital operators manuals that have to be like, is it a matter of, I'm dating myself here, but is it a matter of putting a floppy disk in and put copy and paste into the language model? Or like I know that's so bad, but I mean, like, is it that what is, or do you actually, is there more to it than teaching?
There's a bit more to it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that we've trained, a version of GPT to just know what combines are. What it's really doing is behind the scenes, it's trying to search for information.
Yeah.
And it's finding it and then trying to generate that answer for you.
Yeah.
So what we had to build is kind of a database that has all the manuals in it. We have to do some custom stuff on the manuals just to split it out for the AI to understand them. And then when you ask it a question, it does this search. The type of search is pretty interesting. I don't want to get into too much because it's really technical, but it's not like a keyword search. It's not like, hey, find me, oil capacity and just those words.
Right.
It's more like a semantic search. It's like, find me something that is approximately meaning oil capacity.
Right.
And it's able to do that just because how these large language models work.
Right.
So it's called a vector search, and it basically just turns these words in a paragraph into math, into a vector
awesome.
math. And then you use that to basically do some math operations on.
Yeah.
It's called cosine similarity. It's just like, how close is this vector to another vector, which would represent, part of my document.
Yep.
And if it's close, then that section is probably relevant to the question that's being asked.
Right.
And we give that to, a GPT-4 and say, hey,
here
are all the sections that we found.
Yeah.
Here's the question, and try to make an answer based on kind of what you're seeing here.
Gotcha. So all what you mentioned there, that's all manual work being done.
Oh, well, no, that's all an automated system.
Okay.
Every time your people ask a question,
gotcha,
the system does all those steps.
So
we had to build the system to automatically do all those things.
So the other thing I was going to say is everything that you just said happens like this, though.
Yes.
Like instantaneously.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, there isn't some guy in India or whatever, taking in those things and trying to type
run it through ops videos like, how do I answer this? Oh my God.
Yeah. There's just like music playing, elevator music in the background. Like,
well, it's that classic on hold song. I don't know if you know what I'm talking. Yeah. This playing in the background. Yeah.
This was, Amazon had those like just walk out stores.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it was all AI powered where you could just pick something up and walk out of it and shut them all down. And now it's come out that like it's not AI powered. It's just some guys in the Philippines that are like, watching these video feeds and like adding the items to it.
Oh, like he picked up this?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
No way.
Because I had heard of those. Like I mean, you're supposed to be at there's no cash registers or anything. You have an Amazon account. You go in and get what it. That's so funny.
So they're just predicting what you're buying and
no, they're watching. They're watching.
They're literally watching you and like entering it into the computer as you were walking around the store and.
Oh man.
I would guess that they have some AI actually going on there, and there's certain things they couldn't automate.
There's got to be some.
It's hilarious
that
like that's what Amazon's doing for their big AI thing.
Yeah, and it just my God, caught with your pants down talking about like Jesus. So. Well, that's
So, did you say they shut down all those Amazon stores?
Yeah, that's closed down now. I don't know when
they bailed on the technology.
Yeah,
they bailed on it.
No longer successful or profitable. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Gotcha. So with the and it's okay to talk about this, but with the platform that Visor Pro has built with the the AI language model and that for Mesa Group, you are working with other dealerships. Yep. What's the future look like for that? Have you and the team talked about like are you gonna like kind of box something up and package it and saying, it's ready to rock. Like, I mean, I have to ask the question because like, I mean, it's going to be useful for a lot of people. So like, are we helping Visor Pro build a product that you now go down to the States to a New Holland dealership and be like, this works, which is good. Like, I mean, we're all for, like, I mean, we want everybody to succeed, we want our farmers to succeed. We want our employees to succeed. We want our partners to succeed. So,
yeah, I mean, if we don't have other dealers that we can sell to, it's going to be really hard for us to have a good market, right?
Yeah.
So, to your point, that's exactly what we're doing.
Good.
We're building a solution with the CNH data, like the service ops manuals. Every dealer has access to those.
Yeah.
So we've put that in our system. There will be things that'll be kind of proprietary for your dealership. For example, if we go into work orders, which is an area we do want to go into.
Okay, so we are going to do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's awesome.
That's definitely an area we want to get into.
Oh, that's awesome.
But like when we go into that area, we're not going to sell other New Holland dealerships your work order data.
Right. Yeah.
But we will have a system that we can take their work orders and add it into our system.
Gotcha.
And now it'll work for them, right?
Sure. So, yeah. So just so you know, when I talk about a work order, producer Jay, like anytime we do service work in the back here, there'll be a list of jobs to do in a certain unit. Well, our techs have to go in once all the jobs are done and explain how they fixed it. So that's what I was talking about before, is that Mazer Group has this wealth of knowledge on the answers that our techs have given us over 30 years, right?
Yep. And the problems they address too.
Yeah, exactly. Which can be, niche problems for one unit that you might only see 3 times across a lifetime.
They also have the parts they add on them and the labor hours they spent on it too.
Exactly.
Right? There's some interesting value propositions around that.
Yeah. So you'll be able to search past work orders for a specific machine when one comes in for a new work order to know this is the history of what we've worked on this machine on and what we used and what the problems were and how we fixed it, and
getting the information from that machine to apply to other machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So like, I mean, it's almost like an SGI, or I'm not sure what it is out in BC, or MPI and SGI. They'll have like on a vehicle, like if it's been crashed before, that vehicle will have a rap sheet, right? Like, I mean, we have that here, like we have rap sheets, if you will, for lack of better words, on a per unit basis. But what we're talking about here, producer Jay, is like problems that like nobody's ever seen before, but we've had to fix.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you might have to fix again next year.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like I was saying, problem maybe we only see like 3 times in a lifetime.
So you're crippled by your own quality because they don't go down a lot.
That's right.
You don't get a lot of experience fixing that issue.
Exactly.
So you need to somehow extrapolate that information to be able to when the weird thing comes up.
Well, there's only so many of each of these pieces of equipment out in the field too, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't get to see the same model of sprayer too many times in a season. I'm sure you see them quite a bit, being how big you guys are. But
well, notice I call it great, but like with the agriculture industry, unlike the car industry, where you can kind of bank on a sale. There's somebody that turns 16 every day, by the way. Their customer base is growing. We really need to focus on inventory levels in a sense that we can sell new combines, but I mean, we need to find a home for them when they come back and the guys trade into new ones. So to answer your question, we actually do see specific units along the way, actually for a good portion of their life until whether they're parted out or whether they leave, Saskatchewan or Manitoba. But it's sometimes you run into these things, Brock, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, the fucking thing which is built on a Monday, I mean, it happens, it's a mechanical industry, much like anything mechanical, and shit breaks.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't know why the hell it does. Like, I mean, we've got a 4-wheel drive
Doesn't matter how good your QA is in the factory.
Exactly.
Things are still going to break.
Things are going to break. Like, I mean, we've got a 4-wheel drive right now that, I mean, New Holland makes a damn good product, and all manufacturers do. And this is a plug for all of them. They all make good stuff. But like, we've got a 4-wheel drive out back that the front axle's making a noise. And do you think we can figure out what the hell it is? Like, we've taken a look after the customer. The customer's got a tractor, right? But I mean, like, do you think we can figure out what's fucking making the noise? Like, no. So, like,
you try greasing it.
Did you turn the tractor on and off?
Exactly. There's a rock stuck in the axle.
That's exactly what it is. Right. Just can't figure out exactly where it is, but that's
So it's gonna be huge, and it excites me so much that you say, like, one day we'll get into work orders and be able to. But like, I mean, a service manual for, a CR 9.9 is a service manual for all CR 9.9s,
Yeah.
whereas like a work order is a single text own word. So like, can you teach a language model to read like different styles? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of idea as what we're doing now with the service manuals and the operators manuals.
Yeah.
Like, we just need to take the work orders and kind of do a little bit of processing on them to make it something that the AI can understand, and then it just becomes a part of what it searches over.
Yeah. So is there something that we can be doing right now? I guess we got to look into it further. And where I'm going with this is there something we can be doing right now administratively or at the tech level to answer questions the same way? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if there's a certain job,
have more consistency in the work orders that you are making.
That's right.
Thing.
Yeah.
I imagine that's really important on the warranty side.
It is.
Yeah.
It's huge, unwarrantable items, but some, I think the answers that we're looking for aren't always warrantable, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very, specific answer to that specific job. So like, I guess, again, I'm not a tech guy, so I guess you upload data and the large language model dissects it or does the whole process that you said before. I'm going off on the left field here, but I'm so excited about this.
It's
because
just magic. It's just a black box. You open it up and
stop asking questions, John. Jesus. Yeah. So
I think that's your job here, isn't it?
It is. I got to ask some questions. Yeah. I got to ask a few questions.
You're asking about like, what could you be doing kind of to make this easier for the future?
Yeah.
I don't know if there is much, you know, like the nice thing about these foundational models, which is like what GPT-4 is, or, these other things, like they understand pretty well when there's spelling mistakes, when there's grammatical errors, whatever. Like, they handle them pretty good.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this space in particular, the equipment space, is, there's particular language in the manuals, probably in your work orders, probably that the farmers use or your guys use, that doesn't show up all over the internet.
I'll
and
bet
so
you
like
doesn't,
GPT-4,
yeah.
It can understand it, like it gets what it is, but like it's not as familiar of language to it as like some other kind of text that it would normally see. So
yeah. Crazy. Oh, it's a crazy technological world. What the hell are you writing over down there?
I'm just I'm planning for the future here a little bit.
He's creating his own large language model over there.
Producer GPT is going to be the next thing.
Totally generate AI questions on the spot.
Yeah.
I do have a question about AI in general. There's obviously it's a hot topic. There's a lot of people talking about. I don't know if it would be considered fast moving at this point because we probably don't know what was going on behind the scenes before it became live. But there's a lot of these pros and cons, conspiracy theories, all this other stuff going on. From a guy who actually has intimate knowledge of AI and works in the industry, I'd love to hear just your thoughts about the general pros and cons to this.
Okay.
We got all the time you need.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, that's a pretty big question. I think there is still, like you said, it was a fast-moving technology. It's very new. I think GPT-4 came out like last November, kind of thing. Like, it's a newer technology, and when that happens, there's a bunch of hype that surrounds it because like nobody really understands the use cases. Nobody really understands where it's applicable. A bunch of entrepreneurs are just going to take it and be like, let's try it here. Let's try it here. Let's try it here. Let's try it here.
Yeah.
Some of it'll shake out and some of it won't. And that's kind of the reality of new technologies. In terms of the pros and cons, like anything that is language, probably has a use case that's useful somewhere. It changes the paradigm on especially language processing. I was in AI before large language models existed, and before, we had to train specific models to do each task. And it would be like, I want to do sentiment analysis, which is like, is this piece of text, happy or sad or angry or whatever? Like, can we identify those things? You train one model that was like, this is the sentiment analysis model. It'll tell you if a piece of text is happy, sad, or angry. With large language models, I don't need to train a new model.
Right.
I can just take GPT-4 and say, hey, is the tone of this happy? And it'll be like, yeah, sure, it is.
Gotcha.
And it can do all kinds of other stuff too.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of opens up a world of text processing that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
That makes it really easy to do all kinds of things with unstructured text.
Yeah.
And, that has real use cases. And, one of them is kind of what we're doing with the equipment dealerships.
Yep.
I can imagine other kind of areas in agriculture in particular where this would be useful, but, anywhere where, you're managing large amounts of unstructured text, there's probably a use case there to either understand it better or manage it better. Wherever there's like technical people interfacing with customers, there's probably a good use case there because the technical knowledge, having some kind of an assistant for those technical people can help elevate them in the eyes of the customers, right? And that's kind of what we're doing with you guys.
Yep.
You can imagine something like that on the agronomy side or something,
Yeah.
There's also, there's going to be use cases in how this changes the human-computer interface. So right now, everything's like typing on a keyboard or clicking on a mouse or touching on my screen or whatever. Very I have to use my fingers to get the information in.
Yep.
If you've played around with it, GPT-4 has like this voice interface now. And it does the voice transcription way better than any other transcription I've seen. And then it'll speak back to you. Like you can talk to it and it'll give you an answer back and it'll speak to you and it'll sound like a person because of how it's been trained.
Really?
I can imagine, in the future, instead of touching things to interact with your computer, you're just talking to your computer.
Right.
Your voice, your language from your voice can transmit way more information than your fingers can. Right. It's a much higher bandwidth. So
that's interesting.
That's a crazy point, man.
You're going to get I can imagine, I have my Bluetooth earbuds. I'm always listening to stuff like podcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
I just imagine I'm talking into that half the time and it's talking to an AI and the AI is talking back to me, giving me whatever information I need. And then maybe it just needs to show me something. It'll be just look at your phone. Here it is. And I'll whip out my phone and see it kind of thing. That's kind of where I think this is going.
Yeah.
It's not going to be this year. Maybe some people are working on it, but
it's not that far away.
No, I don't think it's that far away either. Yeah.
So are there hard skills and soft skills that humans have developed over the years without AI that now with AI will not be stimulated or used that actually may have an impact on our future? Social skills, written skills. The thing about technology is once it's there and it's approved and it's kind of ingrained in society, it doesn't go backwards. So do we ever have to learn cursive again? Some people say yes. But
it's my kids are learning cursive.
I don't know. Fun. I'm 42 and I have not written my name in cursive in 41 years.
Other than signing the back of your credit card, right?
Exactly. So I'm kind of I'm on two worlds of this. I believe that there are skills that people need to develop and to be a functioning person of society.
Yep.
But I also think there's things that we hold on to way too long that we just don't need.
Yeah.
Like people don't have emotional stability, but they know how to write a paragraph really well.
Right.
And no one will ever write a paragraph again.
Right.
Because the art of note writing, I think, is gone.
Yep.
So,
well, you see this in, just in my lifetime, I'm about as old as you are. The technology is progressed immensely.
It's crazy.
When I was in junior high, it was unimaginable to have a cell phone. And then when I got to high school, I had a cell phone.
Yeah.
It was okay. And that was I had to enter, to text, you're typing the numbers.
T9 Word.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Oh, I just dated us all, right? But
before autocorrect, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to say, honey, I love you was first off, I don't know if that's how it's going to be. Secondly, it's not even worth me taking the 20 minutes to type that out.
No. Yeah.
I don't love you that much.
To my point here, my parents, didn't go through that as kids, and they were in their 40s when some of this stuff came out, and it shows, right?
Yes,
they interact with technology way different than we do, and our kids will interact with technology way different than we do too. So to your point, there's definitely skills that are they redundant in society now that we have this technology? Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly which ones they are. It's hard to know.
Yep.
People are worried about AI taking all the jobs. That's one of the worries.
That was going to be my thing I was going to talk on, and sorry to interrupt you, Brock, but with the with AI, it was more of an analyst job that I heard about being taken over by AI. It was a job where I don't know what industry in, but essentially this person was hired to gather information on a specific industry and then do whether a quarterly analysis or whether it's look at all the articles of the day, and a broad range of papers, and then give a viewpoint. Like ChatGPT does that now.
Yeah, it can do that.
It can do that. It can give you a synopsis on.
It might not be the best at doing that, though.
Don't trust it, guys. Yet. For all of that,
right?
Because I use it a decent amount in my day to day, and it can become your reliable friend, or it also can leave you hanging the odd
friend
time
to foe.
You still need a human aspect to approve it, proof it,
absolutely,
analyze the data, present the data, understand the data. But it's a time saver is what I'm noticing. So it doesn't replace jobs. It's a
productivity tool.
It's an efficiency tool. Yeah.
Exactly. The people who are getting let go right now because of it, I think it's premature.
Yeah.
Maybe, you have a team of like 10 analysts that now could be 5 analysts or something like that. That's probably happening.
Yep.
But there's also like new types of jobs that are going to open up for it. Right. And it's hard to point to like what those are going to be. So people are like, oh yeah, that's BS then.
Yeah.
But when the cell phone came out, when the smartphone came out, now all of a sudden being an app developer was a big thing.
Yeah.
And beyond that, being like a UX designer became a real big thing too. That's designing the interaction of the app. So if an engineer tries to design the app, then it's just going to be really painful to use because they don't care how people are using it. They just want to build it and make it work.
Right.
A designer looks at, how is a human going to interact with this thing?
Right.
What are the things that are intuitive that I can put in here? How are they going to feel when they're done using it? Are they going to be really frustrated? Because if they are, I've just left a terrible impression on them.
Right.
Are they going to be super happy after they use it? Then that's great.
Yep.
Now my app, they're going to use it and they're going to walk away being like, I feel great.
Yep.
Right. And that's a big deal. That's something that we invest in at Visor Pro is design, because we think that's important. We want your service managers to use it and be like, I feel great after using this thing.
Yep.
Right. I don't want them to use it and be like, man, this is frustrating. This is garbage.
Oh, preach, baby. Because as a guy who works with a lot of marketing programs, functionality and user experience is something that I feel is even getting missed from the top end companies.
Yep.
And I mean top. And I'll never understand. It's one thing, maybe people aren't Apple fans or they are, but everything you read about Steve Jobs and everything you see about him, he was always like, how would a human naturally use this?
Apple's always done a great job with design.
Yeah. And so to me, that's my standard.
Right.
That's a pretty high bar.
If I have to do something that I would not naturally do, and it seems redundant within your program, I'm frustrated. So
do you know how hard it is to make something that simple?
I bet. You know what?
It's
you would understand.
Hard. Really?
I would understand.
Oh yeah. Because I go and talk to you, and you're like, "Oh, it would be nice if it would do this, this, and this."
Yeah.
I go talk to someone else, and they have 3 other things it would be nice to do, and I go talk to someone else, and they have 3 other things it would be nice to do.
Yeah.
And a good product manager will look at that and be like, "Okay, well, why do you want it like that? What's your underlying thing that you're trying to do?" And then, you don't understand the technology, right? At all.
At all.
So you can't tell us, how it should do anything, really.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what it's capable of doing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to be like, what's that underlying thing? What's that underlying thing we need it to be doing for these people?
Yeah.
And then how do we build something that can satisfy that?
Yeah.
And,
also be easy to
whittle
use.
Whittle it down so there's not 10 extra buttons that you need to hit or 20 extra steps or whatever. You know?
I actually think Apple was doing AI before AI existed.
Yeah.
Because they were making it so they probably did research of how a human's going to interact with their programs.
Yeah.
And they made it do things behind the scenes without you having to code it, tell it to go into multiple programs.
Yeah.
And they did it before anyone else actually was doing it. That's a loose theory here, but
Yeah.
that's what I loved about it. Is like,
Yeah.
instead of
some of that doesn't need AI. It's just really clever engineering.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I might be misinterpreting what AI actually means.
Yeah,
here,
I mean, now AI is in everything, even if it doesn't have AI in it. You know, just because you need to get those investor dollars.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
funny.
We're playing in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do our phones listen to us?
I don't know. I've seen compelling evidence to suggest that they do.
Yeah.
I've never worked for Google or Apple, so
Yeah.
like I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
There is, there's a lot to be said about just human nature repeating.
Sure.
And like, okay, I have kids and my partner, and we have certain buying habits that they know about. They don't need to listen to us. So like, maybe we watch this show that talks about this thing, and now Amazon's suggesting something to us when we were talking about that show about that thing.
Yeah.
Do they need to be listening to me to know that? I don't think so. Not all the time. Sometimes it's like uncannily like good at knowing when to inject that,
Like insanely good.
Yeah. That leads me to think that they are.
Yeah.
But I can also kind of plausibly explain it away as them not listening to us. They just have a really good predictive models.
Yeah. Like the one I always think about is like you mentioned the word car or something, and like dealerships will, or whether like a car ad or something comes up. But there's also that whole like geofencing thing, right? Like if I'm going around shopping for cars.
Yeah, they know where you are.
Yeah.
They're definitely looking at your location data.
That's right. Yeah, that's that. You have the option to opt out or whatever on that. But yeah, like it's just, there's just some really, really weird times where it's like, I don't know, my wife and I will be having a conversation, and like not moments later, you're doing the scroll and like what you were talking about is right in front of you.
We're having a baby. And now it's like diapers and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Subscribe to this diaper. And this is a great, carriage or whatever.
That's right.
There's a bit of
stroller.
confirmation bias in this too, though. Like sometimes I'll have the same thing where my friend will leave and we talked about F1 racing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I'll see an F1 racing thing on my Instagram story reel or something. And then I think to myself, wow, it must be listening to me. But before, I just was never noticing the F1 reel that I was seeing prior to that conversation.
Right, you're primed to be thinking that, it's F1 related because you talked to your friend. It's like the analogy, like how many red cars did you see on the way here? You don't really know, but if you knew that you were going to be asked that, you probably would have counted them on the way here.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to our platform that we're working on, just kind of on the AI topic, questions that our people are answering or asking. Is it remembering those questions? Is it remembering answers?
I mean, not in the technical sense that it has a memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of ephemeral in the computer space. We definitely write it down in our database.
Yeah.
And then there's some feedback loops that they provide.
Yeah.
We plan on leveraging the kind of past responses, the feedback we get on it in future iterations of the app. Right now, it doesn't do much with them.
Right.
It's kind of just living there.
Sure.
Yeah. But there is definitely uses for that.
Gotcha.
We can use that to improve the system.
Are we gonna produce or sorry, not we as AgriVisor and your partner gonna?
No, you guys are definitely a part of it.
Yeah,
You can say
exactly.
we.
Yeah. Okay. So are we gonna produce a mobile version?
So the web app is reactive. Like if you just go to the browser on your phone and go to app.visorpro.ai, it'll open up and be pretty good to use.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on building a mobile app.
No.
Not anytime soon.
Okay. I'll leave that out then. I'll stop talking.
It's a beast to build a mobile app.
It is. Well, you said so the more simplistic it gets, the harder it is, right? And like, so if I tell you I just want something to answer a question, like it's
on a web app, I just have to, when we deploy the code, it's like, okay, you write it for the web app. You can really easily test it because it's in your browser there.
Yeah.
You test it on a few different browsers, and then you just kind of push a button and it deploys it to the whole web app.
Right.
Now everyone has that update.
Right.
With the mobile app, I have to build a version for Android and a version for iOS.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I deploy them, I have to deal with the Apple App Store, and Google Play Store is easy. I just push the button and it's fine.
There. Yeah.
It takes like a couple days for it to update after it goes to the store.
Right.
And then like you don't really have control over when people's specific apps update. So it's like I want to release something on Monday, and I do. And then like some of your users won't even get the update until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which is mostly fine. But the big pain in the butt is I have to build 2 apps if I want to build a mobile app. I have to build an app for Android and an app for iOS.
Yeah.
And
so apps are a pain in the ass.
yes, they're a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Okay. I won't ever ask again then. Oh, it's good stuff.
Give me the use case if there's a good ROI there.
Sure. Yeah.
App,
Well, maybe it's
something.
maybe it's something different. I gotta keep my head down and focused on egg. So, yeah. What do you think, Jay? Should we do some fun stuff now?
Yeah, I just got. First off, this was a great episode, man. I love hearing your expertise and giving your insight on AI.
I'm giddy here, and I have to plug something before you get started. What convention were you at where I saw you in
that was the AMC Expo.
Yeah, I spoke, and
you're at the fireside chat. The dealer
fireside chat. So I was presenting, and Brock was there, and so I saw him, walked up, and we started up a conversation, and I had mentioned the podcast, and he's like, "So you're doing a podcast?" And he goes, "Who's your target audience?" And I went, "Fuck, I don't know.
I'm a product guy.
Like, which is so
I need
good.
To know the customer profile that we're targeting here.
It was so good, but I mean, like, we're growing as a podcast, but I mean, it's like it makes you think, like, who are we reaching out to here? So I don't know. I wanted to get that.
Podcasts are hard too. It's hard to know who your audience is.
Well, that's just it.
It's very difficult. Yeah. We did research on this leading into this, and there's a lot of people have a secondary market and a primary market. And we thought, like, who would actually want to hear about the ag industry? Because it's if you're going for information, do experts want to listen to people talk about ag?
That's right.
If they're already an expert, maybe not.
Yep.
Right. But is the everyday person going to be like, I just want to learn more about ag? So we're kind of maneuvering it as we go.
Yeah.
And, if you focus on a good product, good guests, good hosts, good production quality. We think we can, start to analyze the natural audience and then grow from there. Right. Sometimes it's still that, you're still testing it out a bit and seeing who's naturally drawn to the product we're producing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of grow from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. It's kind of what we did.
Literally,
we had the prototype. We launched some pilots, and we figured out who was going to use it, and then we built into that direction.
Yeah,
exactly. Same idea.
Yeah. So we're like, I'm so happy with where it's
pretty meta. Just
it's awesome. I love it. And so like, props to producer Jay because he's been an absolute beauty. He does all the back end stuff for it, and I love where it's gone. Like, again, we're still waiting for the Bob Mazer episode, which is coming, but not yet. But yeah, it's just really great to get folks like yourself on here, Brock, and hear about your story. And
fun. Yeah.
Well, and it's very unique because we're working together. Like, on this platform for Mazer Group and which I think is revolutionary for the way we do business. So it's awesome.
Love it.
It's good stuff.
Okay. I have a couple things I want you to pick, like this or that. What's your favorite?
Okay.
So the one I always start with, because I'm very passionate about it, is Coke or Pepsi.
Oh man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really drink much pop at all.
Fair enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm like a water and coffee guy at this point.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, I would pick Coke.
Yeah.
That a boy.
Yeah. With you. 100%. Good answer.
It's got a bit more of a bite to it. Pepsi is like a little bit sweeter.
Yeah.
I find. Yeah.
You're hitting the nail on the head. You want to feel it in your throat.
That's
and
right.
Preaching to the choir, by the way.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So if you're a coffee drinker, are you coffee or tea in general? Coffee all day?
Yeah.
Like multiple cups?
I'll usually have 2 cups of coffee a day, and then sometimes I'll have a tea.
Okay.
I try to cut myself off on coffee after 1 p.m.
Right.
And if I feel like I need to pick me up, then I'll have a tea at that point.
Yeah.
How do you take your coffee?
I am lactose intolerant, so I use this cream that's it's a coconut and oat milk.
Okay.
And then I just put that in it. And it's got like some fats from the coconut, and then it's kind of sweet as well.
Gotcha.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Are you black coffee?
Yeah, I'm black.
Wow.
Yeah. You?
No coffee, remember?
Oh, that's right. You haven't even tasted coffee.
Nope.
You believe that?
That's crazy.
I know, man.
Wow.
Like I think everybody's day
he
comes
needs to be
with coffee.
initiated.
I've never had a warm sip of just a warm coffee with cream and sugar ever.
You got to go to Starbucks and get a $10 cup of coffee.
No
man.
chance.
I don't know if
My wife
Starbucks
gets
is the right
enough.
place to start.
No, I don't think it would be. Yeah.
Go to Timmy's and get like the generic double, and you know everyone loves those. There's a reason why they've optimized it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the Bud Light of coffee.
Yeah, I just don't want to like it. Like I don't want another thing that I have to make.
Oh, that's fair. Coffee's not cheap either. It's getting up there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we stop for 2 seconds? Not stop, but like, so I want to get on the coffee thing because I recently bought a new coffee maker and I think it's amazing.
Okay.
Are you like a grind the beans every day guy?
Yeah, I use an AeroPress.
Like you're hard into it.
Oh,
then.
I'm a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I grind the beans and then I use the AeroPress.
Yeah. So an AeroPress for a non-coffee drinker is like is it
a French press?
Yeah, kind of, isn't it? Like you push the bean.
Same idea. Yeah. You're pushing the water through the beans.
Right.
To get your bean juice at the other end.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you see, like you're like artisan coffee. I'm like pure production for my coffee maker because I got a bun coffee maker. Like you see the bun, like they make commercial grade.
Yeah.
So it works water in, water out. So it's always got a tank that's heated on the back. So you open the lid. It's got a little valve on there. You pour the water in, put the thing underneath. Make sure you got your grinds in there. And as soon as you close that lid, it starts brewing.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to preheat water or anything like that. You've dumped in. So I did.
Before the AeroPress, I had an espresso machine.
Okay.
That was my go-to.
Yeah. They're a nice little shot. Yeah, it's great.
It takes up too much counter space. So I was just like, all right.
right.
Is there anybody in the coffee space that would prefer like a Keurig style coffee?
Well, they're good for one shot, like one cuppers, you know, like, I mean, like when both my wife and I drink coffee.
It's a convenience thing.
That's right.
So it's built for efficiency, convenience.
100%.
Not built for quality and flavor.
The coffee is not bad. I personally don't enjoy it, but that's my preference.
I've had worse coffee.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Keurig.
You're nobody partial to that. Yeah.
Okay, so my next what's better is are you napping or no napping throughout the day?
Oh, I want to be napping, but no napping at all. Yeah.
Okay, because of time or because you don't believe it's a healthy thing?
Because of time.
Okay, fair.
I have too many things going on in my house, and then work on top of that. I just can't.
I think, my pops was never a napper, and I think when Andrew and I were out of the house more, it became because he's a diehard napper every day, and when but he's like a 10-15 minute and like bang up, I'm out of here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's right after lunch. It's probably like 12:48, 12:46 to 1:05 thing.
Wow.
And like, bam, yeah. But we'll chat with him about this when we get it on here. But like, I mean, I remember him telling me about like, I guess good old Abe Lincoln used to be a crazy napper, and he and only nap. So like he'd sit in a chair and hold a ball, and as soon as his hand dropped the ball, he'd wake up and leave.
Crazy.
But like, and I'm pretty sure he didn't sleep though. Like he did that all the time. I could be lying here. I just misinformation.
I'm playing roulette every time I put my head.
It could be a 3-hour.
Dude, it could be next week.
Yeah, I might be awake tomorrow at this point.
That's the thing. It's too risky, man.
Yeah.
It's too risky for me. The last one is if you're having like a night at your house where you want to snack around. The 3 C's. Are you picking candy, chips, or chocolate?
Oh man, it's changed for me recently. It used to be chips, and now it's candy. Yeah,
candy. Like what chip? What kind of chips?
I would go for like salt and vinegar, or
like a Miss Vicky's. Like
or we usually get the kettle cooked chips.
Yep.
Yeah. Or dill pickle. Salt and vinegar, or dill pickle.
Yeah.
Can't speak anymore.
That's okay.
Which isn't a good thing for a podcast.
We should get ChatGPT on here. He'll answer all for you. I was back in the day. I think they re-released Mexican chili. Like remember Old Dutch Mexican chili? Mm-hmm. Those were my favorite. And then I'm like a kettle chip or a Miss Vicky salt and vinegar. But I'm a chocolate guy at heart though.
I started off as candy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Moved to chocolate, and very much in my older age, I'm starting to get into the salty treats like chips.
I've never been a candy guy. Like jujubes and fuzzy peaches and stuff like that. Like, I mean, chips, for some reason in my mind and the way my mind works, chips and chocolate have a place. Whereas like candy's like, I don't know what, like it's just chewy and
I like getting all three. I like mixing all three.
Really?
Oh, wow. Because the bite of the sugar, the savoriness of the chocolate, the saltiness of the chip, you kind of mix it all together. It's a party in your mouth. But there's
just like a little snack mix
exactly
bowl,
like a, dude, like a trail
whatever you
mix
get in
of
your
junk,
hand, yeah.
a trail mix of junk. But you know what though? There's a few candies out there, like hard candies. There's no place like an original Jolly Rancher. They should just be out of business.
Like, what are they still doing around?
What are you still doing? And
Yeah.
who is still making yellow jujubes? Why
Yeah, I
is
don't
yellow
know.
a flavor?
I don't know.
When one out of like do
yellow should
some
be a
market
flavor.
research. Because you go to a party, bro, and at the end, the bowl of jujubes is there.
And all
there'll
the
be-
yellow ones are there.
Dude, all the yellow. And you're like,
There's
this
got to
is...
be a customer segment that likes the yellow ones. They're just like not any of your friends.
Oh, man.
I'm with you though. Like,
I want to see their market research because there's
Yeah.
no way the yellow is not the
Yeah.
last one.
Turns out they're way more popular in Texas.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
like I get your yellow thing because like if I were gonna pick a candy, it would be sour Skittles. You've probably seen them on my desk before, but like I'll pick out the red and the purple ones. Green's okay. Like I get the lime.
I don't
thing.
even differentiate. I just grab a handful and throw them in there. Kind of.
Yeah, should. That's what I should do because then I'm left with stuff that I'm just like, oh, this is awful, but it's the only thing on my desk. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Love it. Well, thanks, guys.
thank you very much, Producer Jay and Brock. This has been amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a great time, and
I'm really glad it worked out that you're in town right now.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick 10-cent tour of the dealership here so you can see what we're dealing with.
Nice.
But can we have you back?
I think so. You know,
Awesome.
I come into Regina maybe once a year. So
Awesome.
next time,
And we'll have maybe some more information on the new platform.
or we'll have to record it on Pender
What's Pender?
Island.
Oh yeah,
When you guys come. Yeah.
road trip.
Let's do it.
Yes,
Road trip.
coming out to the new suite.
Pack up all the studio and
Yeah, that's right.
we'll do
And
it.
Come
Yeah.
out. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.